Hello, and welcome to episode 74 of Flix and a Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo, with me, forever and always, the man, the myth, the Spider-Ham, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
I forgot that I hadn't done laundry, so today I am pantsless in addition to
God.
the shirt.
Please don't stand up.
I got boxers on.
On this week's episode, we obviously cover the Far From Home trailer along with some other teasers, check in on what we're watching. I struggle with a TV antenna, along with other assorted news and nuggets, all before diving into our flick of the week, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But first, Al, what are we drinking?
First, I'd just like to comment on the fact that was a remarkably synchronous cracking of the can by us. That was amongst our best work with just syncing up the perfect timing of the snaps.
Our souls were one.
Yes. So we have the glorious return of Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers. This is Jack's Abbey Smoke and Dagger. It's a black lager. Its original gravity is 14 Plato. It's 5.6% alcohol by volume. There are 25 IBUs. It is unfiltered and unpasteurized. It's cloaked in mystery.
It is black as night.
As well it should be. Smoke and Dagger. This black lager is brewed with traditional old-world ingredients and cutting-edge lagering techniques. The perfect balance between old and new.
I like how they turned lager into a verb there.
It is a verb.
Is it a thing? Isn't it lager a noun?
The lagering technique is what it is that makes a beer
okay.
a lager. The name of the beer is taken from the verb that they use to make the beer.
Beautiful.
So actually, yes, it's not a noun that was made a verb. It was actually a verb that was made a noun.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well,
the
more you know. Wow. That's weird. Okay. Cheers. Oh, wait.
Let me get a glass.
I found one. Cheers. That was terrible. Oh, my.
Oh, yeah.
Jack's Abbey.
Jax, you never disappoint us.
Here's the thing. If they wanted to go into some form of partnership where all we did was if it was Jack's Abbey and a 6.
No, Flix and a Jack's Abbey.
Flix and a Jack's Abbey.
Because you just made it a beer and a 6 of beer.
That's how much I want to drink it.
Yeah. This, without being able to do a really full official inventory of all the beers of theirs we've done, this might be my favorite.
This is
and
outrageous.
Every one of them, like their least good of theirs was still quite good, just like fairly routine. There was the one that was like the blonde lager. I think that was like it was good, but it was made to be a very basic, generic type of beer, and they executed that very well. This is a delight, and I don't say that with any bit of sarcasm or irony.
You bite your tongue.
Coincidental.
Anytime somebody says something is a delight, I'm going to have trust issues. For more on that, go listen to our Phantom Thread episode. The smokiness, I like.
Yes. I have to say I have not had a ton of smoked beers. I've had a couple that my brother has gotten. He likes to get those like smoked like German lagers, which are not much different from this one. In some ways, I would say it's nice because it's definitely there and identifiable, but it's not overwhelming, and it doesn't taste burnt in any way.
No,
because sometimes you get that burnt, acrid like flavor and like the aftertaste that sits on the tongue, and it's actually very silky.
It's like liquid smoke.
Mouthfeel to the beer. Yeah, because like even though I enjoy it, like have you ever had Lafroig? The whiskey.
The name sounds familiar. I probably have. Did we have it that night?
We definitely had it at Whiskey Live.
Okay.
That one...
Was it in the special room?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, then I think I remember it.
I mean, there's obviously a bunch of different varieties of that whiskey. But I had one that the only time I've had it other than that, and I bought a bottle for my dad for his birthday or something. And we tried that, and it was like taking a puff of a big cigar and then downing a shot right behind it and having both sitting in your mouth at the same time. Which I ended up really liking it. It was just very overwhelming in the moment.
I can imagine.
I knew it was supposed to be on the smokier side of the spectrum, but I didn't know it was going to be that.
Right.
And this isn't that, for better or worse, and I wouldn't say it's either. But I really like this beer.
It's real good.
It's very dark, but it's very well balanced. It's not runaway bitter or burnt tasting. Like, this is if you like dark beers, this is the beer for you.
Yeah, this is quite nice. Man, they knock it out of the park.
Yeah, this is very rapidly probably made into my top 5 breweries.
Yeah. I mean,
if not top 3,
it's up there for me for sure.
We did our list on thespinchoon.com about our top 3 favorite beers, individual beers.
Probably need to revisit that.
Yes, I have not given a lot of thought specifically into overall breweries. Obviously, Newburgh would be up there. Dogfish Head would probably be up there. And then after that, after that, I feel like there's not a lot of breweries where like I've had a big arrangement of all their different beers. It's always like one or two like that. I would just jump to think of ones that, like that one beer is one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Like the Alchemist would probably make it, even though I've really only had 2. Sure. Actually, I guess I had probably 3 of their beers. But they're those IPAs are all kind of to a certain extent similar. Mm-hmm. Not that that's a bad thing, because they're fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I guess Alchemist would probably make it in the top 5, and then actually Maui Brewing Company, because I've had a bunch of them when I was in Hawaii a couple years ago, and they're really good.
Nice. And
you can find like their main ones here, but when I was over there, I had a bunch of their specialty ones that like they don't can and sell, like they just sell in the tap room. All of the stuff there was really good, and like the coconut porter, I think we might have done on the show. I can't remember. I know I bought some when I was here right after I got back. That is really good. Yeah, so I think Jack's Abbey might make it as number 5 then. I think that was 4. 4 I just listed.
Well done.
What about you?
Well done,
Anything?
Yeah. So this is on there for me. I'm not going to give you a specific order, but this is on there.
That wasn't necessarily an order, just order I thought of them.
Jack's Abbey, Newburgh, Magnify, which is very high up.
That's right. I know you like
for
that.
Me. Wow, I am blinking. Cypress, which is a local one. They're very small, but they've won me over. The last 2 times I went there, I sampled like everything and loved everything. Yeah. And hang on, there's the name of one that I can't remember, and I'm gonna roll away into the distance. Can you hear me?
Yes. Well, I was gonna talk while you were rolling.
Yes.
So give you an opportunity to concentrate what you're doing. I was just thinking, some more. I realized that I probably neglected Stone. That would have to probably kick out one of those top 5 I just mentioned.
Stone is pretty good as well. I don't have it on me. That's unfortunate. I thought I had one. I can't remember the name of it, but it's delicious, and I'll have to circle back with you next week when I figure out the name of it. But it's one of the ones that my neighbor gives me that is just wonderful.
Is it Treehouse?
That's the one. Treehouse.
I was just going to mention them because I've only had one of them, but I have 2 other ones in my fridge, and I was just talking with one of my cousins.
Which ones do you have in your fridge?
I can find a picture of them.
Okay.
Because I sent a picture. My cousin told me that he had someone like your neighbor who like brought him a bunch of different beers.
Good man.
And he said, he goes, one of my favorite beers I've drank in quite some time was from this place Treehouse. He goes, have you ever heard of it? And I was like, I have. It's really good. And he goes, the ones that I have are Haze and Bright.
Okay. I think I've actually had both of those.
Yeah, I mean, they cool looking cans too.
What color are the cans?
They're both purple. One of them is like completely purple, and the other one is purple with a bunch of other colors on it.
I had the one that's completely purple for sure. But they also do like variants of it. So sometimes I feel like could be wrong about this, but I believe sometimes the label color is the same, but there's something slightly different about it. But everything that I've had from them I've liked, with the exception of one. I don't remember the name of it. I think I logged it in my Untapped, but it was by far better than a lot of beer that I've had, but it just wasn't up to par with the rest of the ones I've had from them. And I was just like, well, that's a disappointment. But they can't all be wins. We're not all Jack's Abbey. No. Is what I'm saying.
I like how they stick to their theme. It sounded like one of them. I think one of the Jack's Abbey we did was the blood orange wheat was like different than the rest of them.
The can?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how they stick to one theme and change up the colors and the design and stuff like that, but like they all work. And I'm a fan of this one. It's fairly simple, but
It's
it
so
just
good.
works.
Every time I look back at my glass and realize I have more, I'm very excited about this. It's a
I'm
wonderful
going to be
beer.
very upset when I'm done with this.
Right, for sure. Is this did you have one before this? Have you had this beer before?
I think Dominic might have already drank it actually, because I saw he had a couple. Well, I saw he had a couple because I bought this was a 4 or 6 pack, and he had a couple of beers in there that were in 4 packs, and I said if you give me a couple of those, I will swap you a couple of these.
Nice.
So I think he may have tried it before now, but this is the first I'm actually drinking it.
Awesome. Very good. Well done, Al. Great choice. I'm so glad Jack's Idea is back. Our first story that I would like to dive into is one that dropped this morning, and that is the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home.
The synergy could not be any more perfect.
Oh, it's so good. It's like, well, this is perfect for tonight. Great. Spider-Man and Spider-Man. We have 2 topics for the show. Wow. Okay, so this was entertaining as hell because, 1, I loved Homecoming.
2, they've kept some stuff pretty tightly under wraps, and also I haven't been going out of my way to find too much info on this, just figuring I'd wait until I see the trailer. So there were some surprises in there to me.
Yeah. What such as?
Namely, that Nick Fury and the back of Maria Hill's head were in it. I was not aware that they were going to be in this movie. I can't say that I'm not surprised. Like, it makes sense that they would be in it. I feel like I maybe missed the announcement somewhere.
Yeah, I sent the link to my buddy Damien, and his first question was, "Do I have to be?" He hadn't seen Endgame yet, and he's like, "Do I have to be concerned with any spoilers?" And I was like,
"Well, no one's seen Endgame yet."
Oh, sorry,
War.
Infinity War, and I was like, "No."
So here's the thing: we were discussing that. I was incorrect. Apparently, Kevin Feige has confirmed this is taking place at an as of yet undisclosed period of time after Endgame or after Infinity War. I guess I'm not entirely sure, but I was incorrect. This is not before, even though it looked a lot like it might be the case.
Okay.
Though I did notice one thing. Someone found something curious. I don't understand. Like, usually this is something that happens over the course of the next week, not like 4 hours after the trailer comes out. Someone snapped a still of the sequence when he gets his passport, and they blank out the year on the date.
Interesting.
Passport, so you can't.
Well, they could have gotten away with anything there because, as we know, in Homecoming, the dates on screen were not accurate.
Yes, but I think because of that already, they're trying to be extra careful about not fucking it up again.
I appreciate that. I wonder, like, if that was something that was close to. The thing is, they didn't have to do that at all. Why get that close?
The thing is, I think that I don't think it was meant to be a retcon. I think they just fucked up.
Oh no, sorry. I mean the passport thing. Why they didn't even have to show the passport in the trailer?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it kind of went along with the whole thing that they were doing or whatever. But they were smart enough to comb over it with a fine-tooth comb, and it says like June something to June something, but there's just no year. It just says like month, date.
Okay, that's funny. I'm excited for that. I loved Homecoming, and I know I'm gonna love this. And in the teaser or in the trailer, there's this little relationship going on between Aunt May and Happy, and I want to explore that a little bit more. I want to see where that goes.
The funny thing was, I saw something on Twitter this morning, and it said something along the lines of new still of Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, something about teaser announcement, but I didn't see it. There wasn't a link to a video or anything. And then I scrolled down, and like 3 or 4 tweets past that, it was like someone just tweeted, Happy and Aunt May are gonna fuck, and I was like, wait, what now? So I went online, I went on like Google, like searched like the trailer. It's like, oh, it just dropped like 12 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, so apparently I'm not the first person seeing it. A bunch of other people are seeing this video. I didn't even know we were getting it today. Like usually, I kind of hint to you that I know when they're coming because I keep an eye on these sorts of things for us for the show. Mm-hmm. So it's rare that it surprises me like this for something that like I'm actively looking for. You know what I mean?
I absolutely love that they've been dropping these things so quickly and out of the blue. Like it's so exciting. If they know about that anticipation.
Yes.
I know.
Well, I'm also surprised they didn't tie it to something the way they tied Captain Marvel to the national championship and they released it on ESPN like during the halftime show of the game because they know there's gonna be a ton of eyes then, and they want to draw extra eyes during the halftime. I'm surprised they didn't tie this to something as well.
They tied it to my last week of
or
work.
ABC or whatever.
They did it for me.
They could have put it on The Bachelor. No, not that I would have watched it, but that's like I've been hearing that just started last week, so like it's in the Twitter sphere. You know what I mean? Like
I was hoping that if I just let you keep rambling, at some point you would say something that you're upset about on that specific show and be like, you do watch it.
The Bachelor. Though I did hear an interview with the guy who's The Bachelor because apparently he played college football and very, very briefly the NFL. And I heard him. I guess he was friends with someone who does a NFL and college football draft like podcast.
Okay.
I listened to that, and he went on the show with them because I guess they're a fan of the show, like The Bachelor. So I did hear about it, but it was like a week before the show started, so that was the reason I knew it was coming up.
Gotcha. All right. I'll let this one slide.
I did not watch.
Awesome. So anyway, if you haven't seen that trailer, check it out. I don't think there's anything super spoiler in it. They did a good job of making me not hate Jake Gyllenhaal, as in they got me so excited before showing him that I still had a giant smile on my face. So
that was a fun conversation today.
You want to read that to the folks?
Yeah. So I texted Anthony to tell him that it was that I guess I sent you the link of the actual trailer yourself, and you just dropped me like a text dump of like all the stuff, like, like a couple things. Hell yeah, or fuck yeah, rather. Sorry. The score, surprise third thing.
I'm just going to pause there for a second. The way that they did the score in the trailer was amazing.
Yes, it was good.
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Sorry.
And you're like, no idea what's going to happen. And then you said, they did a good job. I was so excited by the time I saw Jake, I didn't want to throw up. And then you immediately followed it up. I don't know why I'm so unnecessarily mean towards him. And I said really you're meaner towards him than I am towards Ben Affleck, and with less cause to be. And you're like, whoa. Actually, never mind. That's accurate.
I don't have any reason to be this rude towards him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could not like him. Like, it's fine
yeah.
if you don't. I'm not really particularly a fan of him either. It's just, I'm confused why you have that level of anger that you have at him.
I don't know.
Like, because you've never mentioned to me like a role. Like, I've mentioned to you roles of Ben Affleck that I hate and why I feel like I have just cause to dislike him so much. You've just been like, oh, Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, never like a thing about him or a role or anything. Like,
I got nothing. I have no idea what it is. You know that scene in Mr. Deeds when he introduces his friends to Crazy Eyes? And he goes, these are my friends. That's Chuck and this is Cecil. And he goes, and Crazy Eyes says, I don't like him. Yeah, that's... For whatever reason, I feel like that's what's going on here, and it's just inappropriate and unnecessary.
Even though I've seen that movie a few times, I wouldn't have like necessarily even remember that, except that I literally just watched that clip yesterday.
That's great.
Because the Jets just hired a new head coach, and they did their press conference yesterday, and he has fucking crazy eyes. Not crazy eyes like Crazy Eyes from Mr. Deeds. His eyes are not cross-eyed or reverse cross-eyed because they were like pointing in two opposite directions. Like they just like he like when he like focuses on something, his eyes just get fucking huge, and he's like looking around, and it looks like he's just perpetually on like, I don't know, crystal meth or something. Like I don't understand.
So good.
And like he became a meme like 12 seconds after his press conference yesterday. So people were like coming up with all different sorts of jokes, some of which were clever, most of which were not. And one of the things that everyone seemed to finally settle on was that he was Crazy Eyes from
Amazing.
Mr. Deeds. So I looked up
I love it.
Like a supercut of all of his scenes from the movie.
So go watch that teaser. That are they calling that a trailer? That's a trailer.
It's a full trailer.
It's a full trailer. Go watch that trailer and then follow that up with another teaser for Game of Thrones. Did you see the Game of Thrones teaser?
That was a teaser.
That was a legit teaser. That was like content that will not be in the show teaser.
Yes, because the thing is, I was talking about this with Dominic recently. When HBO, right after the new year, HBO did their teaser of what's to come this year, and like they had a whole bunch of stuff, and it had the first actual footage from the new season, and it's the scene of Dany and Jon showing up to Winterfell and Sansa's saying to her, "Winterfell's yours," and she looks like she's not too happy about it. And Dominic's like, "Okay, I need a trailer now." So I sent him that, and he goes, "But it's not a real trailer." I was like, "So this is how it works. You get a teaser,
Yep.
then you'll get a trailer. It'll
Correct.
probably be a few more weeks from now. The show isn't actually back until literally almost exactly 3 months from the moment we're saying this right now, plus or minus a day, I guess." So I was like, "Yeah, no, it's obviously you don't expect that extensive of a teaser because it was like 2 minutes long for something that is literally no show footage. It's a little odd." Right. That being said, cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It got me excited, and then it immediately got me angry. And I shared a sentiment with you that I believe you said your brother had the same sentiment, which is, "You're done with this. This is finished. Give it to me now."
Yes.
I want the thing. You have the thing, and you're just being mean. You're just holding on to it.
No, but the thing is what they're doing.
Yeah, I know they want me to watch True Detective, and I will. But give me Game of Thrones. It's ready.
Yeah, no, but the thing that they're doing is...
The next show's ready, too.
They understand. No, they just announced the cast list. They haven't even started shooting yet. The thing is, they are mastering the anticipation. They are giving you the anticipation.
Okay, that's fair. And they are giving... I am excited to check out True Detective in the meantime while I wait. At least that's some high quality, not TV, it's HBO, to watch. Hopefully it's good, because as I said to you earlier, it gets one episode to hook me.
Which is, it's a tough ask, because it's basically like it's a new show starting again, because they have to earn back your trust.
Right, but it's only 8 episodes. So...
Oh, is it?
Oh, wait. Yes, I think so.
I'm not sure, because...
I think it's 8 episodes.
For those types of shows on HBO, it's typically 10 or 13.
Just give me one. You're going to have to hook... Well, the only reason they'll have to hook me with the one is because they failed so miserably on the last one. And, I've already wasted some time with that one. And
I never actually watched that season.
Yeah, I watched
I loved the first season. I was watching it from day one when it debuted. I was like, it was one of those ones where they gave me a trailer. I was like, sold. I'm on board. That looks cool.
Yeah.
Watched it all concurrently with when it was airing.
So good.
That was a great season.
Man, every once in a while, I will see twigs in a weird arrangement on someone's lawn in my backyard, and I'll just whisper to Kim, "Carcosa." And it's terrifying, and I probably shouldn't do it because I think it scares her. But that
I imagine it might.
That show was really good. And the second one, I watched the first episode, it wasn't good. Shame on them. Then I watched the second episode, or half of it wasn't good. Shame on me. Now we're done. And now that the new season is out, I will watch one episode, and that is when they'll have to hook me. And I'm not saying 2. They dropped 2 episodes the first day. I'm watching one of those.
You should watch what's available right now.
One? And if it hooks me, I will watch the second one. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it. It's got that Mahershala. You know I love him.
More on him later.
Continuing on with the Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to seamlessly transition because we're so good at this now on our 74th episode. It was a good week for trailers because also... yesterday or today, the first full trailer for the new season of Billions dropped. Which got so excited because I forgot that that's so imminent because I love that show so very much.
It feels like it's a show that I would like.
Yes, no, it's a show that everyone should like because there's enough smart things going on to keep your interest, but it's also very aware that it's kind of a dumb show overall. But dumb in a good way because I
appreciate that.
They recognize it, you know what I mean? Like they lean into it. At times it is essentially like WWE, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like they embrace it and they clean it up a bit, you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit more polished than that. It's just fun. And it's a great cast. It's an A-list cast doing B- list material. And you can see they're having fun with it.
I appreciate that. I feel like, that would be right up my alley.
At the end of every hour, I am entertained.
Okay.
I'm entertained more on some hours than others, but I have never watched an episode and been dissatisfied with the experience. It entertains me every episode.
Is that HBO?
It is Showtime.
Showtime. Okay. Cool. Was that an orca? just now that I heard?
No, that was a barstool chair.
Oh, okay, got it.
Sliding along tile upstairs.
Perfect. Do you have more trailers? I have one more.
I have a teaser.
Give me the teaser.
So when I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I got a Toy Story 4 teaser.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it was. Although I will say at first, I was a little disappointed because I thought that they didn't have Jordan Peele doing one of the two voices. It didn't sound like him to me for some reason.
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you get a different teaser than I got? What was the teaser you got?
The teaser I have is them all in a circle.
No, I saw that one a few weeks ago.
There's another one?
There's another one.
That's exciting.
It's two little stuffed animals at a carnival game, which I guess is going to play into the movie itself. And I guess these two characters are going to be new characters in the movie, and I had not heard of these casting. It's two little stuffed animals in front of a game, some sort of throwing at the milk bottles, that. And they're voiced by Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, and they're reprising their role as the valets.
Oh no!
And they're talking about Toy Story 4 coming out.
That's
even
amazing.
Though they're these two little stuffed animals. But the thing is, I immediately recognized it was Keegan-Michael Key. I didn't recognize the voice. I was like, this doesn't sound like Jordan Peele to me for some reason. That's super upsetting if he couldn't or wouldn't do this with him. Because at first I didn't realize that's the stick that they were doing. So I thought, but then once about 10, 15 seconds in, I was like, oh, they're doing the valet thing. I was like, that's annoying that's not Jordan Peele. Because for some reason, it just didn't sound like him. To me. Or at least not him when he did that specific role.
Sure.
But yeah, no, they do the whole thing where that, obviously they didn't say shit, but that's my shit. That whole stick where the valet's talking about different
those
movies.
Skits.
And then at the end of it, the best part is it finishes up with the two of them doing, I forget, I think it's Keegan-Michael Key's. I think he plays he's a little duck. He's doing the catch line, to infinity and beyond, but he says it wrong. It's to infinity and the bomb or something like that. And he's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That's not what he says. And he's like, what do you mean? And then he says something else, and then they just keep getting more and more ridiculous and farther from what the actual catchphrase is. And they're just constantly riffing on it. They each do 4 or 5 of them, and then Woody and Buzz come and onto the screen, and then they finish it up with the 4 of them on it, Toy Story 4
awesome.
Coming.
I need to see that. That sounds amazing. I will say on the topic of Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, if you've ever watched the show or heard of the show Hot Ones on YouTube, it's a quick web series where the gentleman eats hot wings with the guest and does an interview. And if they make it through all the hot wings, they can plug something. You need to watch the one with Key and Peele.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
When Key and Peele did it, I think it was for, I believe Keanu was coming out.
Oh, okay.
And it was so funny. You gotta check that out. But oh my god, I have to watch that.
I don't think I ever saw that whole movie. I think I saw the first half of that movie.
It was ridiculous. Do you have any more teasers or trailers?
Nope, that's the last of those.
I've got one.
Okay.
Which I actually saw while I was prepping my notes just hours ago.
Nice.
John Wick 3.
Fuck, I forgot. I saw that it came out. I didn't see it.
It's not out.
Oh.
It is a teaser
to the teaser
for the trailer. And it comes out Thursday.
I saw a headline and it said John Wick 3 motion poster and teaser trailer released, and I was like, oh, but I didn't have the time to look it up at that moment. I was like, I gotta circle back and look that up later when I have a minute, and I forgot.
We will have to watch that.
It was a teaser. They said teaser trailer. I didn't realize it was a teaser to a trailer.
Right. We'll have to watch that for next week's episode. But I saw it was just a quick clip of it, and I was like, yep, that's more of what I like. Let's watch that movie. But is this the world we live in now?
What?
Teasers for trailers?
I mean, that's not the first time that's happened.
It's the trailer, but it's days before. It's 2 days before it comes out.
I have seen that before. I'm struggling to think of an example of it right now because I don't think I've seen one super recently, but I've seen that before in the last couple of years.
All right, but still ridiculous. I'm very excited about that. That was not. I don't think that was on my list of movies that I mentioned last week that were coming out in 2019.
No, we didn't do a very comprehensive list because we did it. We came up with that idea moments before we did it.
Yeah, it was very quick. Anyway, that's one that I'm very much looking forward to.
Tell me about a TV antenna.
Okay, so as you know, I sometimes
pay attention to the rundown, even though I frequently tell you I don't listen to what you say.
I do not have cable television, and when it comes to award season, it gets very difficult for me to watch the award shows.
I imagine.
I've missed one so far. I did not get to see the Critics' Choice Awards, and I was kind of bummed about it.
I forgot you guys watch like all of them.
We watch all of them.
I just watch the Oscars outside of a couple weeks ago when the Golden Globes were on, because they were on right after a football game that I was watching.
Yep.
So I watched the opening monologue. It was Andy Samberg and Sandra Oh together, and that opening monologue was vaguely entertaining.
I didn't get to see that.
I didn't watch the rest of the show. I just watched that.
So that actually is what. So the Golden Globes, we tried to watch that, and we have a couple of folks over. We were watching it. Set it up to watch. It all looked like it was going to be good. It said that you're going to be able to stream it on NBC. So we have the app up and running. We're ready to go. It force quits and blacks out as soon as the show starts, and I was like, "Fuck you!" You
better figure it out because I'm assuming I'm coming for the Oscars again.
Yeah. That's where that's where our tale begins.
Okay.
So that was frustrating. Then I went online, tried to find a couple of streams, was having no such luck. Realized there were a couple services that I have not done free trials for yet. Did one so that I can get NBC, got that going, watched it that way. Was very, very annoyed by this. That forced me to miss the opening, which is my favorite part of the award show, is that opening. They're usually very funny. But I was very annoyed by that. And I was like, by the time the Oscars comes around, I'm going to have my antenna hooked up so that we could just watch it, over the air. The thing is, it is free. So it bothers me that it's this difficult for me to get. Anyway, regardless, all I have to do is hook up an antenna, right? Right.
Why an antenna, though? This isn't 1985.
Because I'm not going to pay for cable.
Okay.
So
you're going to hook up bunny ears?
No. God, if only it were so simple. So the Critics' Choice Awards came, and it was on the CW. And I was like, oh, okay, CW has an app. They're usually pretty good about this stuff. Let me try that. Go on CW. They don't have a lot of live streaming. They don't have a live stream of it. But sometimes for an event like that is live, you would think they might have. They didn't have it, regardless.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they have the support for that on that app.
They don't. So then I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go ahead and sign into one of these services from somebody else's provider and watch it on their channel. A lot of the cable companies have online streaming services where you could actually tune in, kind of like PlayStation View or YouTube TV, something like that.
Yeah, if you want for that thing, we can do it. I have one for DirecTV.
Yeah,
so.
That's great. Doesn't work for this. So they blocked it out.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I watch live shit all the time on the DirecTV app.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't available. So I tried a few different things. I tried Sling, YouTube TV, and Hulu Live. All three of which had CW listed as a channel. And then when I got into the demo, CW was not there as a live channel, but I was able to watch on-demand stuff. And I was like, well, that is just false advertising. I got very frustrated.
It's probably because you're not using an actual subscription. It's because you're using a trial.
No, the trial is for 5 days, and it is supposed to be exactly what the service is. That's how a trial works. But it didn't work, and they are not available on those particular things, whether it was the day. Because a lot of times in the past what has happened, and NBC has been guilty of this before, is they will black out the stream specifically for a live event. And
that's what I was going to ask though. I mean, the trials may not work for live events. It may work for live TV, like if you're watching an episode of something.
But that is also garbage. It's absolute trash, and it's unacceptable.
It's a gray area.
So it's trash. So what I ended up doing, so as I in my frustration, I purchased an attic antenna and a 100-foot coaxial cable, and I got it today. And before we joined this call, I was up fiddling around. So first I had to put this thing together, which, Jesus Christ, it was ridiculous. It was so many pieces. I did not know what I was signing myself up for, but regardless, it's together and it's currently sitting in the garage waiting. I'm going to be installing it soon. But I did test it. And to test it, what I did was, in my frustration, I opened the attic, go up the steps, threw it in the attic, attached the cable, came down with running the wire down the stairs of the attic steps across the hallway and living room and attaching it to the TV. And bless her heart, Kim asks no questions. Which I appreciate.
So, it's good when you can read a room. Now, that's a real life skill.
She's watching TV, and I was like, do you mind if I use this for a minute? And she just pauses the show and lets me do my thing, which I appreciate immensely. I plug the antenna in, I scan for channels, scanning, 7 channels, scanning, 23 channels, scanning, 54 channels. I'm like, what kind of stations am I going to get from this antenna?
Probably not many that you'd like.
Right. So it finishes up and it goes in. And I'm flipping through the stations and it starts at 2 HD. Looks great. It's getting CBS. Moving on, getting NBC. I'm like, suck it, Golden Globes. And moving on, Channel 7. It was beautiful HD, great. I'm also getting the sub channel, so it's 7-1-2-3-4, and there are all sorts of weird things like movies and Ion and all sorts of weird crap. 9, 13, and I went, fuck you. It was because I'm looking for 11 here.
For you.
I'm looking for 11 here, and I am aware that though the signal is medium, it does reach where I live. I am supposed to get it. So I went up into the attic and I started turning it in all sorts of different directions in different areas. I'm pretty sure that my hand is itchy from some of the insulation that's up there. Regardless, nothing, no good. So I put it on channel 11 and I started holding it, and I have my head peeking out from the attic, looking at the TV, and I'm angling the antenna to see if the signal strength will increase for that channel. No luck. So frustrated, throw the remote in my pocket, grab the antenna, storm down the attic steps, put it on the kitchen table, facing the kitchen window, channel 11. I'm like, what is happening? So I'm wondering if there is a place in the attic that I can put it in facing that direction that I will get channel 11, or if I want to watch the CW, if I need to bring that to the kitchen table.
Well, I mean, considering you don't watch much live TV anymore, the simple solution is you just disassemble it when you don't need it, and then you plop it on the table when you need to watch channel 11.
That's adorable. There's no way in hell I'm disassembling this thing.
I mean, just unplugging it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that I can do. That I can get on board.
Unplug it, wrap it around the antenna, put it in the closet when you don't need it.
There is a specific spot in the living room that I had this other antenna that I tried to do this with. It was one of those flat antennas. It just looks like a piece of paper. And I had it plugged into the TV. Kim wanted to watch a Red Sox game, but it was playing on a local station, so it was blacked out from MLB TV. Let's not get into that. And
they must have been playing against the Yankees.
Yes, exactly. So I was frustrated. She was frustrated about that. Couldn't watch it. So we don't have an antenna. Couldn't tune into the station. And then I was like, okay, so let me plug this antenna in.
You wouldn't have got it with the antenna anyway.
Yes, I would have. So here's the deal. Plugged it in. It was on a broadcast network, a local broadcast network. So I found the station, except I had to hold my hand up very high in one specific spot of the living room, and we got it.
Was it a weekend game on Fox?
Yes, I think so. And I got it.
It's like you wouldn't have gotten Yes Network then.
I got it for 5 minutes, and then my arm got a little bit tired, and I just adjusted myself ever so slightly, and it just went out.
Oh no!
This is just unreal. But in the gap of time that I did get it to air, a home run by the Yankees. It was unfortunate. Anyway, now I have this antenna. I'm going to be messing around with that at some point. So.
I do basic cable antenna stuff anymore, because I remember, I want to say 5 years ago, hearing a news story that the federal government was creating a law to ban standard definition.
Yeah, it's gone. Cable. It is gone.
And I was like, but why?
Well, this is digital.
I particularly want it, but why is it illegal?
I don't know. This is a digital signal going over the air. So that while the TV tried to scan for those channels, it just wasn't finding anything. It's like, bro, I don't know.
I know. I just remember thinking it was very confusing until I read about it. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, first of all, if you've offered this as a free service to everyone, and the deal going in is you only get 12 channels, like, first of all, fuck you. And I was like, okay, no, they're going to be giving them only HD signals going forward. Right. Okay, fine. Whatever. If that's what makes you happy, go to it. I just understand why we literally have to create a law banning it.
Right. Yeah, it seems aggressive. It seems aggressive to make the analog signal.
It was just over the top. I was like, what's going on with these channels? Like, this is.
I want to know: is there someone? There's got to be someone that was given like a summons or arrested for still using the signal.
Some sort of pirate television situation, right. Where still using the standard def on I guess I'm sure you guys had it or my mom and papa had it, but I don't remember it being the case with their TV. But I remember when we were still in Vermont, right after we moved into our house, after the condo, we got my grandparents on my dad's side's old TV that still had the dial.
Oh yeah.
Like, someone still has that set-top, box. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. Which was the worst thing ever.
I was talking to somebody about this recently. I miss the old console television that we had, the one that you sit on the floor and play video games on. And if you realize, somebody was using it for the VCR, so it was on channel 4, and then you had to put it to channel 3 to play the game. And when you turn the knob, it was just like... junk. It was channel 3 and then you were good. Like, that was ridiculous. The mechanics behind those TVs were insane.
Yes.
I kind of want one again. I would make that work. Anyway, those were my antenna antics. I'm glad you were paying attention. We've got a quick note for what we're watching because I am watching something different.
Okay.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I have heard of it.
You would adore it.
Would I find it delightful?
I think you would find it legitimately delightful. It is very, very cleverly written, and it's very quick. It's just constant delivery of amazing dialogue, and it's a lot of fun. And I encourage you all to watch it. I don't really know anything about it, but I know that it's critically acclaimed. Because didn't people win Golden Globes or at least they were nominated for it. But did they win this year? I feel like somebody might have won this year. Last year for sure. But that was, man, it's a good show. I'm almost... I
literally know nothing about it. I just know that I've heard about it a whole bunch of times.
I didn't know anything about it going in, which is probably what stopped me from watching it multiple times. I just had no idea what it was. But Kim watched one episode, said it was good. I watched it, and now we are 1.5 seasons in with half a season to go. So
is that on Netflix or Hulu?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
I have that. I should probably try it.
Give it a go. Watch one episode. See if you get hooked. Do the pilot test.
We've had this whole conversation, but I still don't know anything about it.
Do you want me to tell you? I think you should go in blind. I think you should go in the way I went.
Not even a synopsis.
No, it's not necessary. Because then you're kind of wondering where it's going to go, and this is one of those rare situations where the pilot really sets up the story well, so that you don't have to worry too much about it. You watch the pilot, you understand what the show's about.
Okay, that's usually a plus.
And it's done right, and to the point where
first of all, literally nothing has ever been so efficient as the pilot for Lovesick.
Yeah, that was really good.
You literally know what the whole show is about.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Like, boom, chlamydia, call your ex-girlfriends.
Right.
And we're off.
Here's the thing. The acting is great. Like I said, the writing and the dialogue is fantastic.
Who's in it? Because I know, I've heard, there's acclaim for the actors and actresses.
Do you remember in House of Cards?
Oh, Rachel Brosnahan.
Yes. She's in it. She's fantastic. Tony Shalhoub?
She played Rachel.
Yes. And her name is Rachel.
That's what I'm saying. Rachel Brosnahan. Yeah. I was like, she played Rachel.
Is it Tony Shalhoub?
Shalhoub.
Who is fantastic. I love that man.
I mean, he's a good actor.
He's great.
He's a D-list actor, but he is a legitimately good actor.
He is okay in the first season. He is fan-friggin-tastic in the second season. I love him.
Alex Borstein. That's funny.
Who's that? What's the name of the character?
Susie.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
You know who that is, right? She's the voice of Lois in Family Guy.
Yes. Yeah, I only know that because I looked it up. I was like, who is this? While I was watching it.
Oh, Kevin Pollak's in this.
Mm-hmm. It's a good show. Give it an episode.
Wait, Zachary Levi's in this? Levy? I don't know.
Is that Chuck?
Yes.
Yeah, he's so far I've seen him in one episode.
Oh, I was gonna say I've been wondering what he's been doing other than getting ready for Shazam.
But it seems like he is going to be more important than the one episode he was in. So,
okay,
we'll see where that goes. That was the last one I watched.
He's a pretty good actor and seems to have some sort of level of fame after Chuck. So I was just surprised that he's basically not really been in anything that I'm aware of up until he was cast in Shazam.
All right. Well, anyway, give that show an episode. Circle back. Let me know what you think. Let's see if it lures you in the way Lovesick lured me in.
If it piques my interest?
Yeah, let's see. You have something for us?
Is that the end of your news and notes?
That's
nuggets?
the end of my what we're watching.
Oh, okay. You still have more? I have one final brief nugget.
I have one final thing too.
Okay. It's more just a curiosity than anything, because there isn't much to go on with it yet. But I gave a recommendation for a podcast a while back. It was Villains.
Mm-hmm.
Did you listen to all of Villains?
No, not yet.
Okay. I've been talking with my cousins Mike and Dennis, who probably listening to this.
Right now?
Well, no. That would be weird. But by Friday or Saturday.
But when they hear those words, it will be right now.
Yes.
Mind blown.
And the three of us had kind of mixed feelings on the show overall. I really liked the idea. Some of the episodes were quite good. Some of them I could have done without. New podcast that I just started listening to because it literally just sprung up into existence like a week ago. South Beach Sessions.
South Beach Sessions?
Correct.
Okay.
It is, for anyone listening who has heard or not heard of the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN, it is an offshoot of that show. It sounds like it's going to be roughly 45 minutes to an hour. It's basically just an interview once a week with a person. Some or all of the members of the show will be in the background of this show. It eventually will spawn a whole network of podcasts, I guess, amongst all of the people involved with the show and friends of the show. It's literally they're like calling it the Le Batard and Friends Network.
Nice.
So the first episode was with Neil Brennan, who worked with the Chappelle Show. Him and like Dave Chappelle are like, I guess, tight. Like I think he was a writer on that show.
Okay.
So I'm looking him up because I realized I meant to do this before we got started, and I forgot. Even though I left myself the note, I just forgot to look him up. Yeah, he was a writer for the Chappelle Show. I think he's done some writing and maybe a little bit of acting, but I think it's mostly his work has been as a writer. He wrote for The Daily Show for a while. He wrote for The Chappelle Show. He's written for Saturday Night Live. He's done some stuff with Funny or Die. And I think he was involved with Get Him to the Greek in some way. So the first episode was with him. And the second episode is, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's with Adam McKay, who I've heard on their show, on the Le Batard Show several times. He's a friend of the show. He's always good when he's on with them. Mm-hmm. He's always entertaining. That was how a couple of weeks ago when I brought up the story of him having the heart attack while shooting Vice, that was where I first heard it. And his, like, it always seems too short. It always feels like a couple times they've had him come on for multiple segments because they just ran out of time and had so many things to talk about.
Okay.
And he's just good. Like, he's good with them. I haven't even listened to this episode yet. It just dropped today. So I'll probably be listening to it tomorrow when I get a second because I want to listen to it start to finish, and it'll be 45-ish in an hour. And the other thing is, they have to do it PG-13-ish on TV, and they always end up having to bleep him out because he just gets into a role, you know what I mean? So this, I think, is supposed to be largely not so tightly controlled. It's not like a full R on the podcast, but kind of in that soft gray area between the two. Yeah, I think they're still
it's kind of lowercase r.
I think they're also still getting into what the rules are because it's ESPN associated, Disney associated, but it's not specifically Disney and ESPN.
Okay.
It's not on their airwaves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, because even like in that first episode, they were literally at times like, I'm not sure if we're gonna have to bleep that out. When you're listening to this, it may be bleeped. You know what I mean?
That's pretty great.
We're kind of making this up as we go along. I get told one thing, then we start doing it, and then I'm told we're doing something else. Just bear with us. But I'm really looking forward to listening to that because a lot of people love Dan Le Batard himself. A lot of people hate him. I love his show. But the one thing that no one really can question factually is he is great at interviewing people.
Awesome. That's
great at it. He brings out the best in it when he's talking to someone, because he's good at luring them into a false sense of security. Not a false sense, a sense of security, and then getting them to go past the boundaries of where they're ready to go.
Okay. That's cool.
And it either makes for something that's hysterically bad and awkward, or hysterically great and funny or entertaining or interesting.
Right.
And they've interviewed people across all sorts of spectrum of sport, entertainment, politics, business, like music, like the randomest assortment of people you could possibly imagine. So I'm looking forward to this show because of its long form nature. They don't often get to do.
Sweet. Yeah, I'd be interested to check that out more so to hear your thoughts once you actually start listening to it.
Yeah, I listened to the one with Neil Brennan. I just haven't got a chance to listen to the one with Adam McKay. That Adam McKay is the one I specifically brought up because you and I are fans of his work.
You're friends with him?
Well, sure, it would be fun. I'm sure it would be fun to be friends with him. No, we're fans of his work, and I'm guessing a lot of people who listen to us probably are as well.
Right.
So check that out.
I definitely would like to check that out. So I have one last thing, and it was a curiosity more. Are you interested in seeing Bumblebee?
I'm not opposed to seeing it. I wouldn't say that I'm super excited or looking forward to it, though. Okay. I have heard very good things about it.
Here's the thing. I had no interest in the movie. I heard lots of good things. Well, like, lots of good things. And
I heard it's the first only good Transformer movie.
Yeah, that's interesting. Then James and I went out, we got some food, and then afterwards, like, we were going to play a game. It was like, why don't we're passing the movie theater, let's see if there's anything playing before we go back. And there was a Bumblebee time up in, like, 40 minutes. I was like, oh, let's go check that out. That's wrong. Those statements are all false.
Wait, what?
The movie is bad. It's a bad movie.
That's really not what I've heard.
It is not good at all. It's got no heart. It's got horrible writing. It's very confusing with what you've already seen and how it's supposed to fit into the timeline. It's
that part of it is interesting. I actually was literally just watching a video last night about that because based on this whole cycle of the production of this movie, no one actually knows exactly where it's supposed to fit, whether it's a reboot, soft reboot, prequel, sequel, etc., so on.
Yeah.
It at this exact moment in time, there is no official answer to that question.
Which is, I think, kind of lends itself to the half-assed nature of that movie. Which it might be entertaining for us to do. We've talked about recently, we should do a couple of movies that aren't good. Because we tend to talk about the movies that we like. I did not like this movie. I thought it was a bad movie. Listen,
everyone's welcome to like or not like what they want, as long as your reasoning is justified and rational, etc., so on. But no, the funny thing is, I've specifically heard from certain, like, you know, like I said, I was watching this video on it, and it was a review of the movie, by a critic, and they said it was good.
Yeah.
And like, not just that they enjoyed it, but that it was an actually good movie for an action movie. More specifically, that it was the first good Transformers movie, in the quality of the movie itself and the quality of its transposing the material that it's based on. And that is seconded by the fact that I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, there was someone I follow on Twitter who writes a webcomic, who is like the biggest fan of Transformers I've ever known of existing. Like bigger fan of that than you or I is of Star Wars or anything else that we're fans of. And he said it was good, and not just that it was good, that it was good to the material that it's based on, saying that it was the only thing that's come anywhere near being representative of what it's based on. For that sort of fan, is quite the stamp of approval.
I think we are going to have to do this movie then, and I think because I heard a lot of similar things, and I really want to hear what you think personally after you watch this thing. So I'm not bearing the lead on my feelings towards it. I thought the movie was trash, but I think it would be a very interesting thing to discuss. It's the type of thing that I was probably going to check it out eventually when it made it onto HBO or something.
I just had no interest in going to see it.
The thing is, if you disagree, it will lead to an interesting conversation. If you agree, it'll lead to us having a lot of fun bashing, and understanding what we just watched. So either way, I think it will make for some good content. So let's maybe give that one a go.
Okay.
All right. On an entirely other note, let's get into a movie that I adored. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is our flick of the week. And I'm not going to bury the lead on this one either. This movie is fan-friggin-tastic.
Yes, this was actually good. Might be hyperbole, but it might be the best Spider-Man movie that's been made.
That is when the movie ended and the credits rolled, I said those exact words as it came. I was like, I think this is the best rendition of Spider-Man on screen.
And that's with me not really having much of a basis of backstory and information to Spider-Man. I know the gist of his character beat, some of the main characters that have been part of his history, and some superficial knowledge of those important characters, good and bad. But I was not a big comic book reader, so most of that information I have is stuff that I've picked up along the way. Sure. Some of the stuff from watching some of the animated shows, stuff like that. And one of the reasons it's so good is because while it lovingly pulls from that material, it's also mocking a lot of it too.
Yes.
And that is something that Lord and Miller are really... Maybe they should just keep making animated movies. Maybe they don't do any other movies.
Animated.
Because the Star Wars thing didn't work out for them. Although I guess they did the Jump Street movies too, right?
I guess so,
they did pretty good at that. But other than that, their animated stuff has been the good stuff.
Yeah. They did. It was the Lego movie.
Yes.
Right? Did they do Lego Batman?
I think they produced it.
But
I don't think they directed it.
And were they both involved in this one, or was it just one of them that was
this one? Pretty sure they both were involved with it.
So here's what's amazing. So I go into a lot of times when I go into a movie, if the movie is overly hyped, what I try to do is I try to lower my expectations because I don't believe that it's going to.
Oh no, I was wrong. It was actually just Phil Lord. I thought both of them. I thought they were both involved because I thought they both did everything together. Oh my god, I can't remember the names. The Wachowskis or the Farrellys. You know what I mean? I thought they just. Although I guess only one of the Farrellys just did Green Book. I don't think it was both of them.
So what I was saying is I don't. When I go into a movie like this, that's been hyped up, I usually try to lower the bar because I can't imagine that it's going to live up to the ridiculous expectations that people have set. I went into this movie a little bit differently. Because of the way that people were talking about it and the things that people were saying about it, I went into the movie expecting that it wasn't going. Not lowering the bar. I was expecting not to come out of it really loving it.
Okay.
And I was very excited to see it though. And to my pleasant surprise, when the movie ended, that's the line that I said. Pretty much exactly what you just said to us here, which is this. Like I said, this might be the best rendition of Spider-Man on screen. It is. The movie's got so much going for it, and that is tough to do in an animated movie. And I say that because I know a lot of people will disagree with me. People don't take animated movies as seriously as they take
I will
live.
say it right here and now. I don't generally
Right.
take them as seriously as other movies.
Right.
I might start to change my mind on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also is probably a case by case thing.
This is the first animated movie that I watched that, within minutes of it starting, it was no longer even something I was aware of.
No, I would say that that's I disagree with that. For actually a recent example, rewatching A Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, that's true. That was pretty captivating.
That movie is not an animated movie; it's a movie.
Yeah, interesting. So where's the line?
I mean, the line, it comes down to quality. It's just quality of writing.
Mm-hmm. So is that what it is? Is it writing and then delivery of dialogue?
It comes down to it always comes down to writing, and that's one of those things we've gotten away from. I guess it was the '90s that got away from it, really. Like where they took the torch pass from the '80s action movies that let's keep getting bigger and dumber and bigger and dumber. But the thing is, like, a lot of those movies still had some kernel of good writing to them, and then eventually they didn't anymore. Not to say all of them, but a lot of them.
Right.
And we scrubbed that from its place of importance. It was like, oh, like you can just get anyone. It's about the star power, or it's about the director. And those things are obviously important too. But the thing is, you can get actors who are good, or even just pretty good, and a director who is pretty good. But if you pair it with excellent writing, and it could be excellent writing by the director themselves, included in the writing room, it's gonna carry it. I mean, like, similar to like sporting analogy, like there's if you talk like football, if you have a great offensive line, it's gonna mask deficiencies at quarterback and running back. If you have if you're gonna save on star power of actors, which actually this movie didn't, it has a great cast.
Right, it does.
But a lot of this great cast doesn't even have that many lines.
Nope.
They added up to be greater than the sum of their parts. It's really good writing and direction.
Yeah.
If you have really good writing and direction, you will have a good movie, no matter who you cast in it, as long as they are functionally capable of doing the job.
You know what's incredible to me is I feel like writing an animated movie is it could be this comes from just me, like, just randomly saying this. There's no grounding in this statement. It seems like it would be easier to write an animated movie with, like, kind of no strings attached, whereas writing for an actual human being on-screen acting might be a little bit more difficult than that.
Well, it certainly allows you to go outside the box more, right? Because you don't have to worry about some of the things you would have to worry about in a live-action movie.
Right. That's where I'm coming from.
Take more risks, but the thing is, a lot of times they do the inverse because they go cheap on it for the animated movie, and
sure.
If you're not going outside that box, you're just going to be kind of bored. And it's like, okay, this is just a kid's movie.
With removing those barriers might lend itself to some pretty excellent writing. In this case, just absolutely incredible writing. The counter to that point, though, is I have no idea. I have a general idea of what a director is doing when they're directing a live-action film. I have no clue how a director manages the work of an animated film.
Sure, it's definitely different because you're not putting the camera on and shooting it and then going. You know what I mean? Like, so it is different.
So interesting.
I mean, like, I guess probably the one like most like obvious thing is I think there's probably some interplay between the whole role of writing and directing, right? But it comes down to, I think, what the director is doing more of is they're working with the audio people on capturing the voice. You know what I mean? Because, like, you're going to be included in the art direction, right? We're gonna have this scene. We're going to do this thing. Write me up a thing. I watch it animated. Yep, that's how I want it to look. Great. Moving on. What it comes down to is we have this writing, and you hone that writing, and you let it happen. And then you give it to your actors, and then you listen to them and say, no, give it to me like this. The same. And that sort of stuff overlaps exactly with what you would have in real life directing, right? But because you're not focusing on the specifics of capturing the cinematography alongside the vocal part of it, the vocal aspect, right? As opposed to where in this one you're doing that on its own. We're capturing the vocals of the actor, and then we're looking at and helping to match it to the animation, right? So I guess that's probably part of it too. Is especially if you have one like where the character is like talking, to try and match it to the cadence of how it's been animated on screen.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It is interesting to think about, and I would love either to read an account or watch a documentary on someone that is very good at doing direction for both live action and animated, and the differences in their flow of work while they're doing it. It would just be fascinating to me.
Well, I guess Phil Lord would be the right person to ask, having done the Jump Street movies and having done this in the Lego movie.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. That being said, so we're talking a little bit about the writing there. The story in this movie is so good. It hits so many incredible beats, and we're not going to get into those yet. That'll be post-spoilers. But just the delivery, the depth of the things going on, the relationships depicted on screen, they're all just so well crafted. And at this point, it's just like, we're like kissing the ass of this movie. But there's something very, very special about it. And I cannot wait to own this thing and watch it over and over again. There's the music plays fantastically with the aesthetic.
Yes.
I think they did an incredible job with that pairing. The aesthetic itself, it's got this weird, like, graffiti style plus, like, this cell shading. Like, I don't know what you call it, but it worked. Like, it was so unique to me.
Well, I had heard, like, there was some, like, trepidation that because it's not your traditional either like CGI, like computer generated looking animation, or a classic looking animation, or like the kind of I don't even really have like a word for it, but it doesn't look like most typical animated like movies do. It doesn't look like the stop motion like claymation type stuff either. Which, by the way, can you imagine how long it would take to make that stop motion? Like 10 years, I guess.
For sure.
But that people were afraid that it wouldn't resonate or it would turn people off because it doesn't look like how they're used to it. And it's like, but why? Like, it doesn't matter as long as it looks good, it doesn't matter if it looks different. And it looks good largely.
Yeah. It looks incredible.
And honestly, being unique and standing out is probably for the better. It helps you, like, poke your head up above the rest of the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was blown away. You know what's amazing is all the characters had depth. There was something, not all.
Not necessarily to the detriment, but I would say that Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, and the futuristic one whose name, the girl, I can't remember her name. Mm-hmm. The three of them definitely were more support roles as opposed to Peter Parker and Gwen.
They were, but they play into their background just enough to make them matter.
They do, but meaning that you don't really get much characterization. They mostly play as a couple of jokes, references. For
sure. And it was definitely, I mean, that was definitely would help with the appeal to like the younger audience as well. Like the storyline, the writing, that's all for the adults that are there. But kids are going to love this thing too. Like, it's, again, the visual stunning, that crosses generations.
I actually got a kick. The introductions were great.
Oh,
the Spider-Noir introduction is phenomenal. Wait, is he black and white?
Wait, or how about this? Wait, is he Nicolas Cage?
Well, sure.
That was...
But I just... the whole conversation, there's so much going on, and yet that is all, like, perfectly, like, pop, 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 pop. Like, they hit all, like, the boxes in a row. Like, wait, is that all black and white? Hang on a second. The wind is blowing his cape. We're in a basement. How is that possible? He goes, the wind follows me around wherever I go. And also, it smells like rain.
So good. I mean, you also get Spider-Ham.
Yes.
Who is John Mulaney. Which,
yes. I
mean, come on. You gotta love some John Mulaney.
Yeah, what was he? He was Peter Porker, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oh man, I am going to be seeing him live in a few weeks, and I'm very excited about that.
Oh, are you going to see him? That's cool.
Yes. Cannot wait. Love that guy. But my
Not
God.
Johnny Mathis.
Not Johnny Mathis, no. John Mulaney. Like I had mentioned, the music, fantastic. I have a note here, pre-spoilers, that the movie is self-aware. It
almost reminded me of Deadpool at sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. I definitely got that feeling. And the especially when they're really just trashing on. They trashed on some of the mistakes made with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, the very beginning, where they have Spider-Man going down the street and doing the emo thing, except dressed up as Spider-Man, not with the hair flip, and he's snapping his fingers and pointing at people, slide. Like, they almost did a shot-for-shot remake, just put him in a spider suit instead of having him wearing black with the comb-over, like, hanging over his face. Like,
I forget what the words were that were being said over that, but it was like,
he's like,
some things I'm proud of, some things we weren't. Yeah, exactly. But they did such a good job with that. And then one of my favorite things that they did was, as they introduced the different Spider characters and told you a little bit about their origin, they said, "One more time." And just because we have so many times seen Spider-Man rebooted on screen, that, like, I wanted to stand up and applaud every time they did that.
No, it was actually perfect. I had a note about that too. Like, let's do this one more time, and then I actually liked at the very end, it was, let's do this one last time.
Yeah.
And like each time they spread it up, and then like got to the point where like they weren't gonna do Penny and Spider-Ham and Spider-Noir, so they just flopped the comic books on the table and just like to the like, listen, we're doing the thing, but then they don't actually do the thing.
That was so good. Oh my God, it was so entertaining. Should we lift the veil, or is there anything you want to say pre-spoilers?
The standout of this movie is still Jake Johnson as Nick Miller as Spider-Man.
Yes. 100%. Could not agree with you more.
When I saw the first trailer, that was my immediate thought, and it was 100% vindicated in watching the movie. He's literally the exact same character, minus the super weird, like, theories and shit that, like, Nick had, like, about, like, Mars and stuff like that. Like, if you just cut that stuff out and just the character himself, like, the man, that was him.
Yep.
And, like, it had to have been the easiest paycheck Jake Johnson's ever cashed.
This was Spider-Man: The Pepperwood Chronicles.
Yes. And it was great. Like, it doesn't feel like a retread thing. Like, it was perfectly married together, like, that character with the way they wrote it, because it played for some great laughs. Like, the whole thing, oh, he's a little bit overweight. Yeah, we've heard. Thanks.
That's so good. Actually, I want to stick on this topic for one moment, but we do have to do this in spoiler territory. So with that, we were lifting the veil. This movie is fantastic. Go see it, and then come back and listen to the rest of this. So with that, the jokes that he had made, this is the one that got me. It was so clever and had me cracking up, and I kept thinking about it afterwards and kept laughing at it. He talks about how they're going. He's explaining. Nick Miller is explaining the plan to Miles Morales on how they're going to get the information out of the lab. Step 1, I'm going to infiltrate the lair. Step 2, I'm going to find the head scientist. And then they show him in his imagination looking at the head scientist, and Miles says, actually, it's this woman so-and-so. And he goes, okay, step 2, I'm going to learn about my personal biases. Step 3. And I thought that was wonderful. And they played to it again where when she came on screen, even though he acknowledged that he was being biased, he still played to it as, like, not even considering it when Doc Ock came on screen, and I thought that was brilliant.
They did. Okay, we readjusted the personal bias of, the lead scientist is actually the woman,
right? But
then in his universe, it's Dr. Octopus is Otto Octavius,
right?
Not Olivia Octavius,
Which is that was fantastic. That had me. I was cracking up. Learned about my personal biases. I was floored by that, and that was like one of those self-aware
that's the way
things.
You do it where it's not preachy, right? It's just a one line. It's just quick. Oh, I fucked up. I'll do better. Like it's not you don't have to like hang ourselves and like self-flagellate. Like it's over. I fucked up.
Yeah,
I won't do it again. You know what I mean? Like, and the way that it was real too. Oh, let me guess. They call you Doc. Your friends call you Doc. No, they call me Liv. We're my enemies.
That was also excellent. Oh my God! And that's it, though. That's the movie. It's tons of that, like tons of little quips
Also,
Constantly
the other one that really got me along those lines of, oh my, I'm really sorry about it. Listen, I went through something similar too. My uncle died. My uncle Ben. I also had an uncle die. My uncle Benjamin.
Oh my god. It was so. Oh, so here's circling back towards the beginning. The first Spider-Man that we hear, which is Chris Pine apparently, who is talking.
Wait. Before we get into that,
yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. He started talking.
Sorry, I couldn't get to the mute button. It was behind the computer. That was just a disaster.
When he first started talking, I was like, "Who is this?" Because I didn't look up the cast. I knew I knew some people going in.
You knew who it was?
What?
Go on.
I didn't nude. I said I knew. Why do you keep?
You said noon.
D's at the end of words that I didn't say them at.
You said noon.
I said here. I didn't say nude. I said new.
Noon.
Now it's the time of day.
Go on.
I knew it was Jake Johnson, and I knew a couple other people, Brian Tyree Henry and Mahershala Ali.
Yep.
Going
Love
in.
that guy.
Yeah, no, he's good. Even in limited screen time again with this.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who was playing the original Peter Parker. So he started talking. I was like, that voice sounds familiar. And then, it was during his narration. I was like, but I can't really get a read on it. During the action scene at the Super Collider, he yells a couple times. It's like, is that Oscar Isaac? And it wasn't. It was Chris Pine. I was like, that's really weird. It sounded like Oscar Isaac.
But
you know who was at the end of this movie? Oscar Isaac, Spider-Man.
Yep. That's really funny.
Now go on with your story back.
He was ready to be there. So what I thought was really funny, and I mean this could have been intentional or not. I'm gonna, for my own humor, I'm gonna assume that it was intentional. They joked about it early on. The Chris Pine Spider-Man jokes about the whole things that he's not proud of and does the dance, the Spider-Man dance that we mentioned earlier from Spider-Man 3. They kill him. They kill that Spider-Man. And I feel like that's intentional, that they associated that Spider-Man with the one that did the dance, and then they killed him.
Well, actually, it was a little bit heartbreaking. He's like,
oh, yeah.
No, not just that he died. Yes, that, but specifically how it goes down where he's like, oh my God, are you okay? He goes, sure, I always get up. And it's like, oh, you're not gonna this time.
No.
Because it was that was the whole thing during his back. I've taken some big hits, but I always get back up because my drive to be Spider-Man and to be, was always overwhelming. That's what drove me. You know what I mean? And then he says, I'll be fine. I always get up. And I'm like, but no.
And the way that he goes out. Whew.
Yeah. I did have a little problem with how powerful Wilson Fisk was. I understand that his strength is an overwhelming part of his character. Mm-hmm. He's supposed to be much stronger than the average man. But the fight at the end, at one point he is holding a car above his head and throws it quite casually.
He's very strong. He's very strong. You're just going to have to... What are you drinking now? What is this? What beer have you moved on to? I know it's not as good as Jack's Abbey.
No, but I poured it several minutes ago.
Did you?
Yeah, I cracked it right.
Must have been in the zone.
Talking about the movie. It's just a New Belgian Pet Tire.
Oh, okay. So after I watched it, I went through real quick to see which people I missed. Who were the... Because first, they flash the names across the screen in the early credits. And when they do that in a movie, they don't show you... They don't line it up with the name of the character.
No.
So I went back and I was reading over the cast, and I noticed Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane, and I was like, horribly underutilized because I think she's fantastic.
Yeah, I guess she didn't. There's a lot of people who didn't get a ton of lines to work with.
Lily Tomlin as Aunt May, though, pretty solid.
Also, just probably my favorite Aunt May because she's a full-on accomplice.
Yeah,
knows what's going on. I've never seen that version of Aunt May.
When they were terrified to actually speak with her, and she was just like, "Yeah, a bunch of other people already did this. Come on."
No, the thing is, she comes out and says, "You're an alternate timeline, Peter Parker." And at that moment, it's like, okay, so she's fully aware of who Peter and Spider-Man was. So seeing several other Spider-Men show up, brief shock, but she kind of at this point knows to go along with it. We don't know at that moment that she's already been met by a bunch of other Spider-Men.
That's excellent. So much fun. Haley Steinfeld is Gwen Stacy.
Yes.
It's unfortunate that after I saw this, I then saw Bumblebee. We can discuss that next time. Shamik Moore, is that how you say his name?
I assume so. I'm not actually sure. I've never heard
Wow. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he did a good job.
The emotion that comes through in that voice acting is palpable.
Yeah, he did a good job for someone who had to largely carry this movie, and he's quite young. Not as young as Miles, but he's not yet 24 years old. So I have not seen him in anything, I don't believe.
I am pulling him up right now to see.
I just scrolled through. I have not seen him in
nothing.
anything before.
Man, it's just everybody was just wonderful in this.
Yeah, and then we got his dad and his uncle were Brian Tyree Henry, who is famous for his role on Atlanta. He's Paperboy, I think, and Mahershala Ali, who's becoming very famous the last few years, and we're talking about with True Detective. He's been he won an Oscar. He's going to be nominated again, I think, for Green Book. He was great on House of Cards. That was what I first saw him on, and that's really his first breakout role as Remy Danton, and he's a really good actor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He was like probably the sole redeeming aspect of the first half of the season of the first season of Luke Cage. He was very good as Cottonmouth.
He was really good. I would rewatch that first half for his performance in it.
Yeah, he's really good.
It's excellent. We mentioned we get Nick Cage, which is just brooding Nicolas Cage, which is just wonderful.
Is there any other type of Nicolas Cage?
There's nuts Nicolas Cage. There's like the wide eyes.
There's manic Nicolas Cage, and there's brooding Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything other than those two states of being.
Nope. I'm pretty sure that's it. He exists in one of two states. He's very binary.
I've never seen The Wicker Man, but I've seen the scene with the bees. And that is like the one true avatar of the manic side of Nicolas Cage. And there's obviously many options for the brooding version of him. There's one third aspect. There's Southern Nicolas Cage too, when he's playing Cameron Poe.
All right. There's also we got Catherine Hahn as Doc Ock.
Yes, she was someone I figured out quite early on when she was talking. I was like, "Is that what's her name from Step Brothers?" And,
I know you.
Yeah.
That was great. Liev Schreiber.
I've never seen her play an out-and-out villain like that.
What's that?
So I've never seen her play an out-and-out villain like that.
No, she did Psycho very well.
Yeah, the closest she came to that was on Parks and Rec, but even then, she kind of became like a frenemy.
She's in Step Brothers, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. She was the wife.
The scene where
Adam
she bursts into the men's bathroom and pees at the urinal, I lose it every time because not only because one is just completely outrageous the way that she's acting in that scene, but the absolute horror on John C. Reilly's face as that's happening.
When she comes up behind him and says she does her trucker voice.
Yeah. Oh my god, so good. We get Liev Schreiber as Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, he did a good job. I actually, when he started talking, I was like, I know that voice, but I don't know who it is because he's doing a voice.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. I was like, oh, yep, that totally makes sense.
What was interesting for all the animations, the only one that seemed like a little bit odd to me, but it worked. It wasn't jarring. It was just different. Well,
he just was not shaped like a human being.
Right. The drawing of Fisk with his head somewhere in his mid-torso because he's so gigantic.
Like, I have pretty good sized shoulders, and his shoulders were like 5,000 times bigger than mine.
Right.
Like you know what he looked like? He looked like a turtle.
Yes.
His back and shoulders came so far up above his head with zero neck that he looked like a. Actually, he looked more like a turtle than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Actually, no. You know what he looked like? The Fifth Element.
Yes.
The aliens
with the key and the
Montechiwa. That's what he looked like.
That's fantastic. That's exactly what it looked like.
I love that movie, and that's exactly what he was.
Fifth Element. That's one that we need to do. That's when we're running out of stuff to do, we'll just do like a throwback. That's one of them.
100%. That's one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie so much.
It's a great movie.
Corbin. So the stories within the story. So first things first, the reiteration of expectations throughout the movie I thought was fantastic. Expectations for yourself, expectations for others, and expectations that you see others having for you, and how that plays out through. He almost, for a lot of the times, he's he's putting himself down. He doesn't believe in himself, and it
that scene with his father when he's tied to the chair.
Oh,
really good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, he does keep putting himself down, putting his the whole thing where he purposely fails the test.
Yeah,
and he
100% fails the test.
At that moment, it just plays as okay. It's a pretty obvious cry for help / a blatantly obvious ploy to get kicked out.
Yeah,
just because he doesn't want to be there. It doesn't necessarily sound self-defeating at that moment.
No.
It just seems like he just doesn't like being there. Not that he doesn't think he deserves to be there. But yeah, no, it comes across eventually as he feels unworthy in a lot of aspects of his life.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's what I love. I just love what he assumes that his father expects of him, what he assumes that everybody around him expects of him.
Well, it's not just assumption. His father says the reason I pushed you hard is because I saw such greatness in you.
Right.
I saw that spark in you, and I want you to let it out.
What I love, though, is the relationship that he has with his uncle. The way he sees his uncle, the inherent expectations that he has towards his uncle because of the person that he thinks he is, and then all of that shattering when he realizes...
It is interesting that he put his uncle on the pedestal, and the uncle was a piece of shit,
yeah.
Whereas he puts himself down, and he's the one who's worthy of it.
It's fascinating, and I feel like there's a lot in there that a lot of people can relate to.
Oh, definitely.
Whether it's very heavily or on the same level or tangentially, but it's still there. There's something in here for everyone. There's something in all the relationships for everyone. The relationship between him and his uncle, the relationship between him and his father, the adorable romantic relationship that is kind of blooming throughout the movie between him and Gwen.
Yeah, kind of a tragic type of thing because it's from the beginning it's doomed to never crop up to be anything because she can't exist there. Although I guess at the end they kind of teased that there might be. And the funny thing is, while I was watching it and loving it, I was like, this movie doesn't really need a sequel.
Yeah.
I honestly almost might be okay if they just decide not to do one because it would have worked so well as a standalone.
Yeah.
And I just worry about what the repeatability factor is for a movie like this.
Sure.
What are the chances that you can actually execute on something that whenever you try to justify the making of a sequel, you're trying to outdo it. Even though, at this point, we really know it's almost... it's not impossible. It's just so hard. So hard to almost appear impossible to do better the next time around. Mm-hmm. So I'm just good with coming anywhere in the same ballpark as being just as good.
Yeah.
If you give me something new and different on the theme that you've established, and it's approximate in value to how good the first one is, then I'm good. You've justified your existence as a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say this was gimmicky, but it's just such an out there concept with what they actually did that it felt so unique that I don't want them to tarnish it by trying to reproduce.
It would be hard pressed for them to make a sequel that doesn't feel samey.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
I
agree.
Although, if someone's going to do it, it would be Lord and Miller. Well, I guess it's just Lord this time because they did it with the Jump Street movies, right? Mm-hmm. The first movie, I thought that was a movie that could not work. I was like, this is such a joke. I can't believe they're doing it. And I loved it. And then they were doing another one. And I was like, it's not going to be that good. And honestly, it's not as good as the first one, but it's still quite good.
Eric, tell them I'm your bitch.
and part of it is, again, the self-aware. They do the joke. The first movie is joking about reboots. The second one, joking about sequels. Just do it like the first time. and then how they're not going to do it like the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if anyone was going to successfully navigate those waters, it would be them. I just worry whether Lord doesn't stay involved with the project and leave it in lesser hands.
No, I think that's a fair concern. I too would be happy with it, just with this being a one-off. I would have preferred if they didn't do that open communication at the end. Like, just let it be. Not everything needs to be a franchise. Spider-Man already is a franchise. Stop.
Yeah.
This was a great one-off, full story. It was a full open shut book. Like, there was nothing. They didn't need to explore anything else. They just opened it up at the end for money reasons, which I understand they're going to do. It's just it doesn't need it at all.
See, like, I'm looking right now, even at the Lego Movie 2, and Lord and Miller aren't directing it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and I wasn't psyched.
Although
I was semi-psyched because I loved the Lego Movie, but
they are writing. They are credited with screenplay credits.
All right.
So they are. Wait, Raphael Bob Waxberg's involved with it?
Who is that?
Sorry, for those of you who don't know, the only reason I know is because it's just a ridiculous name. He is the writer, creator, director, whatever, of BoJack Horseman.
Oh.
He's so good. That show is amazing. I love that show.
Sweet. As you know, I would have to give that show another chance because when I tried watching it originally, I just didn't care for it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't. I mean, I guess it's not for everyone per se, because a lot of comedies don't get that deep, and a lot of shows that get that deep aren't comedies. And on paper, that's a show that really shouldn't work, and it works incredibly well. It's a really good show. I mean, again, I guess not everyone has to like everything the same way, but it's really good, and it cracks me up, even though it also makes me feel super depressed at times. Getting back to this movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a weird rabbit hole, but I feel like vaguely just.
That's what we do. We are rabbit holes.
Yeah, I did appreciate. I guess again for the support characters, is all three of them, but specifically the Spider Noir and Spider Ham. Just the hijinks they get up to during the course of the movie. The whole thing with him doing the Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
He's like, and this color
I'm going to take this.
Okay.
No, that's what he says.
Oh,
I'm going to...
Yeah, I really didn't expect that because it got really heartfelt. Like, oh, they're all leaving. Like they've, like, created this bond through being the only Spider people that they've ever known. And, like, they, like, got to the point where, like, they genuinely, like, Peter B. Parker, just sight unseen, was like, I will die for you guys all to live. Like, he's just like, it was like actually weirdly morbid for what is admittedly supposed to work for all audiences, but still is trended more towards a younger audience. He was really weirdly accepting, even reveling in the idea of just not being alive anymore.
Yeah.
Where, like, not just did he, like, volunteer to do that, but again at the end when he finally gets his, like, a new lease on life, again it's just like, no, I'm good, I'll go save him and I'll stay and I'll die again. It's like, no, like, you're good. Go.
Yeah. It kind of, just scratching the surface of depression without getting too deep into it, I thought was interesting.
Sure, I was just surprised by it. But the thing that it was weird. Like, we got so introspective. Like, we let, like, them go. Like, Gwen goes, and it's like just like touching, and it's like whatever. And then it's like, I'm taking this Rubik's Cube with me. And it's like, okay, that's kind of funny. And then it's, here, take this gigantic cartoon joke hammer, and he says, "Don't worry, it'll fit in your pocket."
Yeah. That was great.
Because it's a cartoon.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, and then it's, and then we get back to touching where she has her little spider, and she says, "Me and my spider are, thankful for you," and this and that. But just like all this, the Rubik's Cube. So this is purple. No. Blue? No. Because I just don't get it.
That's
One day
amazing.
it will.
It was so good.
And then you see him in his own world, and he solves it somehow.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite of the hijinks, the Spider Pig, or Spider Ham, when they're all on the ceiling in the dorm room, and they're shifting around, and he goes, "The animals talk in your universe because I feel like I'm really going to freak him out."
Yeah. Am I too cartoony for you now? After they're, like, comboing and be like, he's getting, like, the old school, like, bam. What, like the old school not Spider-Man, the old school Batman, like the Adam West Batman, like TV stuff, and then he comes out with the fucking the wooden mallet, and he's smacking him around with the wooden mallet. The combos going on. The fight sequences for because it's an animated movie, they get to do some wild shit with that.
Yeah,
really great.
The usage of the on-screen onomatopoeia throughout everything, because
and text boxes.
Yeah, and they did it so well because they use standard comic book rules of this is a thought, so they put the bubbles up, or they did the yellow box when it's a narration of the character, which I thought was fantastic. I think one of my favorites is that they never overdid it, which was amazing.
Yes, because it would just kind of filter in the background, and there was the occasional point to it and joke about it, but then it was just it wasn't every scene, but it would pop up.
Yeah, the occasional nothing
transitions, at the same time,
They're running down the street at one point, and someone's heel goes in a puddle, and it just says splash. Yep. But very, very small. You almost don't even notice it, and it's completely unnecessary, but for whatever reason, it adds so much to what they're doing.
There was a lot of those little things that, while I was watching it, I was like, shit, I really wish I could notate that to bring it up.
Yeah.
But there was so many of them by the time the movie was done that, I just could not collect them. I would need to rewatch it with the exclusive goal of just collating all of those things to include here, because there was a whole lot of those things that I really want to bring to this.
Yeah,
that there was just no way I could get in the moment and write down, because I do try to occasionally put down a couple of notes during the movie. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, there's no way I'm going to get to this and be able to watch what's going on because it's moving so quickly.
15 minutes into the movie, I had the same feeling of oh my god, there are so many things that just happened that when we do our show, I want to talk about.
I just want to pause this movie, but I'm in a theater, so I can't.
Right. I can't focus on these right now because this movie's so good, I need to enjoy the rest of this. And
also, that whole fight scene at the end, twice in the past calendar year, I have felt like I had an acid trip from what I was watching and listening to on screen. The first time was the end so the end sequence, but then especially the end credits for Annihilation. Mm-hmm. And then again, once the whole multiverse thing opened up and was just in full effect. Honestly, I don't know how you watch that movie high.
Yeah.
without melting your own brain.
For sure. Yes, I would agree with that. While you were talking about individual things that happened that you wish you could remember, something popped into my mind. And that was back at the lab when Spider-Man is stuck, when Miles is stuck to the ceiling and he can't let go. And he tells him, he's trying, explains to him to kind of just clear his mind, let go. What do you do to relax? And he starts singing the song from the beginning, that song that he doesn't know the lyrics to.
Yes.
And that they played that back 3 times in the movie. They did the opening, middle, and close of the movie with that.
Yep.
And that's a great through line.
They did have good story beats like that. There was that one, and there's also the one, and it ties into this specific scene you're talking about, where he says, "Oh my God, teenagers." Because that was another one where it was, she wanted to have kids. I don't think I'm ready for kids, And then this, man, kids, I can't deal with it. And then at the end, during the fight scene, he was
pretty cool.
"Oh my God, I love you, man. I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, I think I want kids."
Yeah. That was excellent. Then, just him teaching him, doesn't want to teach him, but then when he is teaching him, he was thoroughly enjoying it. It's showing that he would actually be pretty good at it was fantastic.
Actually, another great one, because it was such an understated line that gets cut off, and it's meant to be, was when they're swinging and he's teaching him. He's like, "Oh my God, actually I can do this. I can teach him." And he's like, "I'm so proud of you." He goes, "I love you, man." Actually, it was weird for him to say "I love you" so early on for the whole situation. And then he's like, "You're doing a great job." He goes, "I'm so proud of us. You're doing such a great job learning. I'm doing such a great job teaching." And then overjoyed as he's doing this, he goes, "Is there anything you want to say to me?" Or
That's so good. While they were escaping the lab, and Miles has the computer tower and monitor, and Peter catches up with him, and he goes, "Well, you don't need this piece."
He goes, "Well, there's some good news. We don't need the monitor."
That was so good. Actually, he reads out the ridiculously long password, and he goes, "Remember that."
You don't look a day over 35.
Oh my
Actually,
god.
all of that sequence, and they did it a couple times with him, but all of that was great where it's him trying to downplay how bad things are as he's getting his ass whooped. And it's like, why is he so confident? And like, he's this whole thing. He goes, how do you know what to look for? He goes, well, obviously, at the time, when the time comes, I will know what to look for. You know, he goes, wait, don't you want to get a move on this? He goes, oh, listen, there's always that little window of time where I do my best work, where I just get in and I get the job done. I don't really know how it all works out, but it just does. Like,
what does he call the chip that they have to put?
goober?
The goober.
He goes, he gave me this control key. He goes, control key, virus key, something key, something key.
It's always something.
I just call them all goobers. They're all the same.
See, and that was one of those self-aware
moments. One called him a goober, and then someone else calls it a gizmo instead.
Yeah, it's not a gizmo, it's a goober.
Yeah, it's not a goober, it's a gizmo.
That was excellent. The movie is so much fun. I can't wait to watch it again.
Yes. Well, the funny thing was how the multiverse, different people were calling it goobers, like the multiple people. Or was it the one who at the end was that the post credit who used the gizmo? Was that what it was? The one with the Spider-Man.
I think in the post credits he calls it a goober.
Oh, maybe he called it a goober again. I can't remember. I love that at the end of all they finish it up with them doing the Spider-Man meme.
Yep.
This is one of the best memes around, where the two Spider-Mans are pointing at each other.
Yeah.
But it's a different Spider-Man now. It's the one from it's from the one of Nueva York. It's something O'Hara is the name of that actual, like, there's Peter Parker and Miles Morales. It's something O'Hara. I don't remember the name. I think it's a Spanish first name, and it's from like 2099 or something like that. Is like year or whatever. And apparently that's supposed to be a setup that he may be in the next one. I think they've already greenlit it. Actually, I saw that after I watched the movie.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
but that's man, what a great movie. Do you have any other notes?
No, not really. I got most of it there. The only other thing was, I didn't write it down, but I was just thinking about it as I was kind of mentally racking my brain here. But they did a good job of fooling me for the most part. But I got it before the reveal happens with Uncle Aaron being the Prowler.
Oh, I guessed that early.
Yeah. They picked a weird cast outside of Dr. Octopus for other henchmen. Like, I don't know if those are established, like, Scorpion I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But Prowler and the other one whose name I never actually caught, I don't know if those are, like, well-established ones, or if they would
I'm not familiar
ones.
with Prowler.
And yeah, I don't even know who that other, like, gray dude was with the buzz cut.
Yeah. No, I don't know either. I was in the same boat.
I mean, obviously, Wilson Fisk is one of the big Spider-Man bad guys, and Dr. Octopus is obviously one of the most iconic ones as well. Like, you've seen it in a couple of different things here. And interesting doing a different take on it. It ended up being that there was actually no really one true canon Spider-Man Spider-Verse, right? Because it seemed like that Peter Parker was going to be the one, but his Dr. Octopus was a woman. Mm-hmm. Even though he had the Fisk that was like the typical Fisk. But it was Peter B. Parker who had the Otto Octavius one, obviously.
Right. Yeah, they blended the storylines enough that like you're saying, no one was the one. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Which, yeah, I guess that makes sense, if we're going to kind of...
Yeah.
The whole nature of this is the blending and how anything can be anything in this.
So good.
But, yeah, so I just find it odd that there was like those two, like, just random-ass henchmen, and also Scorpion, who's, like, a bigger-ish one, I think, but obviously not on the level of, like, a... Mysterio, or that was a weird Green Goblin. Actually, yeah, I guess Green Goblin was the big one, but he kind of gets tortured earlier on.
Oh yeah, he was gigantic. That was really cool.
Also,
come on, Norman, as he was throwing around.
Yes, that was actually another one that I had I didn't write it down, but that was when I was talking about hijinks. He drops the Looney Tunes anvil on him.
Yep.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect. No.
Absolutely brilliant.
But yeah, it was just like kind of weird. Like I guess it makes sense because with a Mysterio or like a full-on Green Goblin, stuff like that, or Venom, you're gonna want like a bigger, more like juicier role for those characters, or even like a what's Shocker or something like that. And like, but No, I thought it was an interesting little like coterie of villains.
Yeah, it was cool. In closing, allow me to just share this anecdote with you. I'm really hoping that you remember and we could bond over this, but you may not remember it. I'm hoping at least one person listening will remember this. But back in the day, I had a lot of Spider-Man action figures, and I had this Spider-Man playset, and I remember the commercial for it vividly, of like reenacting scenes from the animated series with action figures in this playset, and it's basically a city street, a couple of buildings on either side, right side, left side. There's like walls that you could break through and like little things that you can interact with. And the what's the news station called there? The newspaper, is it
the Daily Planet?
Is it Planet Bugle?
Daily Bugle. Daily Planet is Superman. Daily Planet's Superman.
So yeah, Daily Bugle. The Daily Bugle, and then at the top there's a water tower, and inside of it there was like this green, like basically, you remember Nickelodeon Gak?
Yes, I remember. I don't think I had it. And I don't even remember you like having it per se, but I remember the commercials for it.
Oh my god, I had that thing, and man, I loved reenacting my favorite Spider-Man scenes with that playset. That was such a treat. And this movie, this hodgepodge of all these different characters and versions of Spider-Man, it really felt like me playing with my Spider-Man toys. And it was just a lot of fun.
I can see it.
That's all that I have. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, awesome. That's it for this week's episode of Flix in the Six. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
And I'm Al Bielsi.
Cheers.